Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's another great day in the USA, as a cartoon character once said and continues to say, I suppose, but it actually is. And for those of you who, like me, don't watch the Super Bowl, yeah, we didn't miss anything. I think it's cool that the Eagles won, but I think everybody's over what's his name, Kelsey, whatever, and Taylor not so swift. So the highlight to me was Taylor not so swift being booed, but someone who's never booed and is always cheery, even when he's washing up on a beach in Santa Monica, is Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
Heyo, there we go. Good morning, Tony. And yes,
Morning.
I watched the Super Bowl only because I had let's just say a betting interest in it. I shouldn't be talking about that on the air, but that's fine. I'm in New York. That stuff's allowed.
Did you win? Did you
No,
win?
I never win. But there was actually one real highlight to the Super Bowl, or shall I say, for some a low light.
I don't know. I saw a few, but go ahead. Go with yours first.
Okay, let's go to the halftime show, which was absolutely awful.
I
Except for
didn't.
this.
Yeah.
But get a load of this guy who was running around with the Gaza Palestinian flag during the whole thing. There he goes, jumping out of the troop. He's running around with his flag. And, hey, look at me. I have a Palestinian flag, free Palestine, blah, blah. I don't know what that means, but look. He's running around, idiot.
It's like, I saw a, what?
He's going to get tackled in a moment.
Oh, let's watch that. There we go. Tackling. Come on.
And there we go.
Throw a flag. Throw a flag. That's right.
I should have beaten him a little bit more, but
15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Make him do it over. All right, do it over. It's like Monty Python. Remember that? What are you writing? Romans go home. No. Conjugate the verb. I write it 1,000 times.
Oh my God.
If you haven't watched that, Life of Brian, what a great movie. Another movie that could not be made today. By the way, we've got to do that, Chris. That's your show, not mine. But we got to get Bob Hayes out of retirement and come talk about movies that we couldn't make today.
Yeah, we got to. I got to do more with the lounge too. So yeah, we have to get that going.
Yeah, so we got to do that sometime. But anyway, we're getting way off field here. But anyway, to me, I mean, God bless the Eagles. Godspeed when you burn your city down. I mean, it'll be glorious. Just saying, just leave the Liberty Bell alone.
Yeah.
But no, keep going. Go ahead, Chris. I mean, you have a thought.
No,
you want to jump in and burn down Philadelphia too?
I'm with you. Yes, as a matter of fact, we do have some of this as well. We have some footage. I thought you were trying to cue me on this one. So let's go. Or as Warner Wolf would say, let's go to the videotape. There we go. We have a bunch of. Oh God, what is with these people? You're supposed to riot when your team loses, not when your team wins. So here we go. Let's go to Philadelphia right here. I'm trying to get that in here. There we go. Let's put a little close up on this. This is the action in Philadelphia. Are they that mad at Taylor Swift?
That's right.
His drunkies. Yeah, they pulled down a traffic light and they started stomping on the traffic light.
So we make fun of everybody here on the show. So next, right? I mean,
I think we lost a little power here. There we go. Is that
so I don't know what to make of any of that. I just I think it's it's kind of like it's insane. I don't know.
Yeah, you're speechless.
Why you do that stuff, but do you, Chris, it's because of
think either I've frozen or something happened here. Yeah, I think either I or Tony is frozen here, so we'll figure that's going. Yeah, so Tony, we'll work on that with Tony. But we saw this
I'm
whole
getting
thing
some
yesterday.
delay, so let's hope it works its
Yeah,
way through.
yeah, yeah. No worries. We'll get that going. So what were you saying, Tony?
I'm back, I think.
I think we are. All right, I think we got you now, Tony.
No, I was saying, do you think, yeah, do you think Taylor Swift is a bad luck charm for Kansas City? Is she like the scarlet letter in a form of a person for them?
Well, they did win 2 years. They did win 2 years in a row, the Chiefs. So we'll get that. We'll get that out of the way. Personally, I thought that was funny that most of the crowd booed her and cheered for Donald Trump. That was a good thing. That was nice to hear.
Yeah.
Now, and her music isn't as bad as what the.
So did you? You know, she's going to write it.
I think Tony's.
No, go ahead. So she's probably going to do. No, I think she's probably going to do a new song out of the whole thing when she dumps Travis. Doesn't she write? She writes songs about bad relationships, right? That's her thing, right? That's what she does, right?
Her bad choices in men, which, by the way, if you'll note, she did support Joe Biden and she supported Kamala Harris.
Well, she's not. We don't know if Kamala is a boy or a girl because they don't know that either. So, but
right. Well,
what do we know?
We don't.
So anyway, but I think her.
Now maybe I'm freezing.
She's a what?
Oh, I'm saying she's a gender fluid man or boy and
we're having
girl
problems with the interwebs today. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on either. This is weird, but we'll have to figure that. This must be a StreamYard thing, so we'll have to work on that. I'll have to go. I'll have to give StreamYard a piece of my nose, and believe me, it'll be a big one. So we'll work on all of this, ladies and gentlemen.
The delays are a bit annoying this morning. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we're going to plow through this one though, as we always do. So I still say the.
So well, anyway, I was just going to say that. Go ahead. I don't know what the hell's going on with the timing, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think for some reason there's a delay with both of us, and that's killing. But here you go. I wanted to ask you, did you see the commercials?
No, go ahead. You lead off. I did not. So I watched none of that.
Usually the commercials are an event. They're usually pretty good. This year was fairly lackluster. And the Pringles commercial was kind of silly with the mustaches. But did you see the one with the flag football team?
I missed it.
Yeah, there was a
no. Tell us about it, Chris. Surprise me.
Or better yet, maybe I should show it to you. Here we go. This is basically one again. It's a liberal narrative here. One black chick and against a whole bunch of stereotypical white jocks from the old, I guess, 1970s and 80s movies. You've seen this movie before, right?
Your best guy?
Yeah.
Never. Versus our best guy. The Brad.
The Brad, of course.
Oh, not the Brad.
This is for flag football.
Brad.
Women's flag football. I can read. I'm talking.
Well, the Brad looks like a loser anyway. Just saying.
Yes. Hey, no, I like the haircut.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
This one woman defeats all these men.
Well,
and at the end, we'll skip to the end. It says, "Let's make girls flag football a varsity sport in 50 states." Personally, are you going to get enough interest? Number one,
no, I don't think so.
But again, it's all of this.
So I mean, come on. Let me be clear. Let me be clear on this for the Patriots. You have to have an audience who wants to go. Now, one of the great things, I'll just say this, and I don't think it's sexist. I'm trying not to be sexist, but one of the great staples of 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s was Friday Night Football, Friday Night Lights. Remember, they made a series about it. And I remember that
Oh yeah.
as a kid. And even here in Edenton, still, people get together and go out to watch the high school football team. So there's a sense of real challenge. I'm just going to be blunt. Girls running around with flags, as much as like I'm sure that's great athletically, there's not going to be an audience for it. It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares. And if nobody cares, you're not going to get a bunch of folks together to do it. And I'm all for women's sports. I just don't think flag football is going to be that. What do you think, Chris?
I'll tell you this. So the idea was making a national commercial showing that this one woman can beat every guy on the local football team and skim right through them, jump over them, and everything else because she's so much of a better athlete. Was pushing a silly narrative. That's number one. But the idea is, if your school, if your area, maybe certain areas can pull this league off, but you have to get a lot of interest. Are girls really going to play flag football? Is that going to be a varsity sport that people are going to pay to see? It's not going to be on par with regular football.
No.
Even girls basketball, I've noticed some high schools will have a girls varsity basketball team as well watched. But then aside from that, this is not. I mean, it's flag football. It's something we can all play in the backyard. It's something we play on Thanksgiving, by the way. Actually, no, we play tackle football on Thanksgiving.
Right. Yeah. So there is a game, and this is not. I don't think I'm being sexist because I actually love the game. I used to be very good at. I actually coached it. Volleyball. To me, volleyball is a great sport. I mean, it's action packed. It's an Olympic sport. People can get out and do it. You know, you can use a basketball court for it. So to me, the time would have been better spent saying, "Hey, let's get women invested in volleyball, and so they can put a string of people together to go to the Olympics because that's an Olympic sport." To me, that's a better like, hey, we're all for fitness, and that's a great. I coached girls volleyball in high school and girls soccer, and it's in my yearbook, so you guys can check it out. But I'm just saying that to me, athletics, it's not bad. But you have to have something people want to go see, right? I mean, that's to me what you got to do.
Well, there is a solution out there. There is one. This is where I was going here. The lingerie bowl might be coming back.
Well, there you go.
And this might be something people would pay to see.
Well, I know people here who'd pay to see that. Yeah.
But still, that's not the best video we've seen all week since we last signed off. The best video took place in Washington. The best video, Tony, took place in Washington.
All right.
Might want to give play-by-play.
Oh, yeah.
This is better than the Super Bowl.
That's quite a segue, but yeah, that is.
Better than the Super Bowl. Watching this come down.
So, yeah, let's go into this a little bit. So one of the things that I think we did learn is that USAID, and it's not aid, although they try to make it out to be aid, it's U.S. Agency for International Development, which essentially is the deep state kind of hidden in plain sight, I think is what we've come to find. So the whole episode, and by the way, another thing for the Patriots to know, because there's been this growing conspiracy theory. Can I say that, Chris? Can I say conspiracy theory? There's conspiracy theory on MSNBC, as if that they have anything else but conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, that's
that
conspiracy
somehow, yeah, Elon Musk was basically told by a white supremacist to go look at. I know, it's like, you need to listen to these people. These people are nuts. See, I listened to the nutty left instead of watching the Super Bowl. That's what I was doing. I was like show prep yesterday. It's like, man.
They are fun. They are
anyway,
fun to watch.
So you can go to my Twitter feed because I post the best of their insanity. Anyway, they believe they MSNBC and said this, that a white supremacist neo-Nazi told Elon Musk. Oh, he went on Joe Rogan first.
Of course.
And then told, he went on Rogan, so he amplified his message. And when he went on Rogan, then Musk got it. Then Musk, when he got it, recognized that he wanted to go in and destroy USAID. No. What happened, for the record, is that Doge is actually an actual department renamed. The Department of Digital Information, I think is the name of it. It was an actual department that
Oh,
the
Doge.
Biden White House created. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they just renamed it, switched it. So it's actually already an existing government entity. So they didn't have to recreate anything. They just renamed it. And then they made Elon Musk an unpaid special government employee. He's a freaking government employee. So when you see on his Twitter feed, White House technical support, it's kind of true. Kind of true. So then what happened within the first 72 hours, Chris? The White House says, "Hey, we're freezing all foreign aid. We're freezing it all." So
Yeah,
guess who
temporarily even.
didn't? Guess who wouldn't freeze the foreign aid? USAID. It's like, wow, these people are like defying us. So let's go look. So that's how it happened. It's like they actually self-identified. They volunteered, if you will, Chris, to be looked
Right.
at first. It's like, hey, these people aren't following the rules. Let's go check them out. So it's like, let's go. So to the left is freaking out because of their own incompetence, their own arrogance, and their own inability to actually like. Maybe you should ixnay on the breaking of law A during a time the president's coming in A. Just didn't figure it out, and so
Well,
that's what's going on. So
well, now you know why every time Donald Trump ran for this office, all three times, he was always a threat to democracy. No, he was really, that's what they call it, a threat to democracy. Democracy is going to die. No, he was a threat to the deep state and the way the government did business. That's what he was. He
yeah,
was going to take a hammer to things. He was going to find out what was going on. And by the way, like I said before, he knew this was going on beforehand, but couldn't really prove it without looking like a
right.
nut. He
So
hung out with these people. He was at parties with these people, and he was always the sober guy at the party,
yeah.
the most dangerous
So
man.
I want everybody to start paying attention. So look at little things which we all track as patriots, like the 9/11 issue. I'll talk about that in a second. The issue regarding where U.S. aid was going. So one of the companies, Chris, that apparently was getting aid, USAID aid, was a company called Burisma. Have you heard that name before?
Dun, dun, dun. Sing the piano.
That's a Ukrainian oil company, and Texas tea, except it's not Texas, it's Ukraine tea. And so the moment that President Trump dared talk to Zelensky about corruption, that's when you got all the usual suspects involved. The ambassador, U.S. ambassador, got involved. The Vindman brothers, frickin' frack, they got involved. Yeah, there he is. There's the smartest man Joe Biden knows, which is saying a lot. So what happened was, I don't think Trump knew this. I'm not saying he's that brilliant. I'm saying Trump had a sense that something was really wrong with Biden, the Biden crime family, and Ukraine. So he's like, hey, and Trump, he just calls up, hey, can we get your help on this? So he actually touched the third rail. So Chris, you've been to the big city, right? You don't want to touch that third rail between the, in the subway. You don't want to put your foot on the third rail and the rail, right? That's like Zap City, right?
Aside from the fact that sometimes I might want to jump in front of that thing, yes, I don't want to step on the third rail.
So, Donald Trump inadvertently jumped in front of the subway. So that's where everything started unraveling. It's true, and so that's why. So just pay attention to where these other strings go, because we're going to come to find that we ain't seen nothing yet. Now, one of the things I want to hit on, I know that I didn't say this before we went on air, but the audience will appreciate it. I think the patrons will appreciate it. Catherine Herridge over the weekend tweeted out something regarding Anwar al-Awlaki. Anwar al-Awlaki was, if for those who remember, Barack Obama killed him in Yemen.
Right.
Yeah, like
the American
citizen.
An
American citizen. Well, it turns out this American citizen was being funded by none other than USAID to actually help bring in and move around 9/11 hijackers. Who'd have thought? Where, nobody could make this up. Nobody would buy a script in Hollywood with this level of that couldn't happen. Yeah. So
all these
that's
things are
another.
they're so hard to believe. That's why they make you look crazy when you bring them up, because they're so far-fetched and hard to believe. You think nobody could do that. That's our moral compass. No, politics is several different layers of bad moral compasses.
So to that point, there was a famous moment back in March of 2017. Our evil overlord, good morning, Ed, was part of it. And so was this guy named Pete Hegseth. And
Gotcha.
they were on the curvy couch on Fox, and I blurted out, hey, it's true. Barack Obama was spying on Donald Trump. So my point being is that at the time, I was nuts. Ed later told me, and Ed, I don't think you mind. I don't think Ed would mind this. I parked, for those who have been to DC, Fox News is down by Union Station. So I park on the street there to do something. I don't know. My office was on the same floor as Fox in the old days. Anyway, I park on the street, and there's Ed Henry, our evil overlord. And Ed walks up to me. This is like 2 years later. Ed walks up to me and says, man, I thought you were nuts. When you were saying that stuff like there, they were yelling in my ear. And it's like, you were right. It's like, yeah. I mean, I do my best. And the Patriots know this, to put out information which may sound totally like, I can't believe he just said that. That is actually, yes, thank you. I was right. So I'm just saying that we're going to come to find that some of the most extreme, like, what? That can't be true. That can't be real. We're going to come to find that a lot of that really is. So more to come, folks. I think we got to get excited. But it's we're not even a month into the administration yet, right?
Right. Well, this is why you hear threat to democracy, conspiracy theory, and all this other. Look, if it was a real conspiracy theory, and it would have been harmless, and nobody would have attacked you. Remember, Alex Jones was a harmless guy on the radio until he was onto something, and then they had to bankrupt him, or at least they had to just find one way to destroy him. Now he did open the door on his own, but that's another story for another day. The fact is, the government went after him. Donald Trump was a fun billionaire to hang out with the Clintons until he was onto something. Then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, he's a threat to democracy. Once you're a threat to democracy, that means he's right. He cannot be. He must be silenced.
Yep.
That's the truth. By the way, one more thing before we get to our excellent guest here. You should be happy to know that DOGE is also not just going into one or two departments, but the HHS has canceled a bunch of contracts, including, get this, $168,000 for an Anthony Fauci exhibit at the NIH Museum. Now, I have some.
Tell me it's not so. I bought tickets to that.
Right.
I
and by the way,
that already. Wow.
Here is one of the statues, by the way. Oh, that's right. Here's one of the statues coming right up. That's a perfect.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
It's well done, but that's why it costs $168 million to make it look perfect. But that's the truth. That's what's been here. This is from the Department of Government Efficiency.
Yeah, Chris, we need to get a gnome in a lab coat. We need to find one of those. I don't know.
I bet there is one.
That'll be good.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, let's get one. That's going to be good. So anyway, by the way, I got to do a speech at Mar-a-Lago, a little speech, not long. We're doing the fundraiser on Thursday. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. There he is. Look at that. There's Anthony Fauci. That was what they were going to use. That's right.
That's the second statue. Remember, there's going to be a lot of these statues. There was going to be. I know these artists are probably going to get really upset.
And by the way, for those who didn't know, they came out with a new line called "Doctor in a Pocket," so you could put Tony in your pocket and walk around with it. Just say it.
I don't think I want. You know what? He's been in our pocket for a very long time. Let's keep him out of there right now.
I'm going to have to use that. I came up with something I have to use in my speech now. That's good. I'm writing my speech live on air. This is great.
On that note, I guess, welcome, Colonel Mills.
Good morning, Colonel. Good morning, Colonel Mills.
Hey, Chris.
He's no doctor in a pocket.
Chris and Tony, I just, it's disturbing what's an Anthony Fauci museum? I don't even.
No,
What do
it's the Anthony Fauci exhibit at the NIH Museum, which I didn't even know there was an NIH museum.
Yeah.
National
What-
Institute of Health Museum.
What are you
Yeah.
going to show? All of his transactions to EcoHealth Alliance and show all the financial accounting transactions that Elon Musk is revealing? I mean, what
Yeah.
There
what is
was
it?
to have been a Lego exhibit with him waving around in one of those Fisher Price cars in front of the Wuhan Institute of Technology. That was going to be part of the exhibit too.
Yeah.
You know, I would have liked this. I say
Right.
reinstitute that contract.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, they were going to have a scratch and sniff section where you could scratch and smell the beagles he killed. You know, they're all going to be there. So
It's going to be
That's right.
experiment on your own
very
puppy.
realistic.
They're going to have that for kids. The kids can experiment on their own puppy.
Oh man, Jad, you came in at the wrong time. You may want to leave. I don't know.
Yeah, all I heard was Anthony Fauci in your pocket, and I'm going. That's a very disturbing.
Doctor in your pocket. That's right. I'm going to have to use that. No, I'm going to. Don't tell anybody. I'm going to use it as part of my speech on Thursday. It'll be great.
Definitely.
Well, especially with that pointy hat. I mean, I just.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna.
Well, he's got a lot of pointy things, and the hat is one of them. But you know, he apparently they were going to have him go off to be the new Keebler elf, and I think that contract fell through too because USAID was going to sponsor that.
Well, he no longer has his security detail. I mean, it just unfathomable. All of the security details. Half the United States government was a security detail for these. Former deep state officials, and we got Milley, we got it's funny. There was an IG report I found that actually this is during the Biden years that the specific criticism was all these security details should be based on the threat, not the person stature. That's actually the DOD instruction and directive, which is actually no longer public facing. You can't read it anymore. But that the DOD IG report is out there. So yeah, we were spending a fortune on all these security details.
Well, a couple things I want to hit on that. So let's go through real quick and kind of revisit this for the Patriots. Over the past, I guess, 2 weeks, you know, Trump's been very persistent, but targeted. He's not just taken, but he's very clear. And I like the way he's rolling it out, John, because he puts out a name, gives it 24 hours, let it all sink in. And then he does another group. And so the latest group was Jake Sullivan, Tony Blinken, my former attorney, Mark Zaid, Norm Eisen, which are kind of the same guy. You know, I think I've never seen Mark Zaid and Norm Eisen in the same room. I think they're the same guy, just saying. And well, you know, what can I say? They're lawyers, so for God's sake. Anyway, but he's been very clear on going after people, not only with the clearances, but then removing security details. Pete Hegseth, to your point, removed a bunch of details from a bunch of former DC Pentagon officials. To me, it was all about prestige. These people can afford their own security. I mean, they're not poor.
Milley's, we're spending a U.S. government security detail to drive him to his, meetings with Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan Chase. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, we don't need that.
So that's gone.
Waste.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. So, what do you make? Because they've gone a step further here than the past, limiting and barring from federal facilities. I think it's great. It's like, man, why didn't I think of that? Because I think it's great. What do you think?
Letitia James, what in the world did she have? She wouldn't even know what a government clearance was if it landed on her head, and we gave her a government clearance. What an absolute fool. Tony Blinken, that was an easy one. No government clearance. And hey, they set the precedent. So,
Letitia James was an enemy of Trump, and that's why she had to have the clearance so she could probably delve into whatever she wanted. So that's the idea. But there are going to be certain people. We're going to find a lot of people who never should have had having clearance, depending on what part of the deep state they're from.
There's been a new revelation I want to hit real quick. Speaking of that,
go ahead.
So no, but John, I want to hear this. This is important because it's related. So there's been reports out that it wasn't Jill Biden running the White House. It wasn't Tony Blinken Blinken. It wasn't Jake Sullivan. It was none other than Hunter Biden. There's been some accounts that Hunter Biden was sitting in. This is according to a Democrat, high-level Democrat operative, saying that every time she was there, she was one of the main fundraisers for the party. She's been talking about all this stuff. She said that, no. You all get it wrong. It's Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was the guy taking the meetings and making the decisions on behalf of Joe Biden. And of course, nobody had the courage to say, like, this knucklehead's a convicted felon. We can't have him in here. So do you think there's any credibility to that report?
Well, I mean, I believe I've seen actual reports or actually photos of him in the there's two White House Situation Room meeting rooms, the large one and the small one, and there's been pictures of him in the large one. If you're in that room, that pretty much implies you have a TSSCI clearance, a top secret clearance.
Yep.
And this guy, I'm sorry, talk about a convicted felon. This guy was trouble, and he was in all these meetings, and we still don't know where in the cubbies where you put your BlackBerry, which I did on a number of occasions.
Yes, I miss BlackBerries. Oh, I miss them.
So this is crazy. This is crazy. One thing I love.
By the way, yes, I miss BlackBerries. They were. I still keep them as a sentimental object. I love BlackBerries. God. No, I'm serious. These things, I love the physical keyboard. Anyway, I digress. But yes,
what is your flip phone gone? or don't you have one of those things in your car?
BlackBerries.
Those big things from the 80s in your car that you have to pull the antenna up. With cell phones.
That's right. So look, I miss parachute pants from the 80s too. So what can I say? I'm weird. So
better than missing capri
not as
pants.
weird as Hunter Biden. Not that
there
weird.
We go. Back to Hunter.
So I think these daily thunder runs from the Doge boys are epic. I mean, what do you do? There was this term, always ride to the sound of the cannons. Well, that's what they're doing. They're riding to the sound of the deep state slush fund cannons and zeroing them out. I mean, Elon put out a post that was epic, and I think everybody really missed the deep meaning and significance. U.S. government payments are going out without the basic codes of what they're for and where they're coming from. Hello, IGs, and then people go, he fired all the IGs. Well, hello, IGs. That's pretty basic cost accounting. In the intelligence and law enforcement world, the whole reason you have all these code-named operations is for cost accounting. That's so Congress can know immediately, well, how much are you spending on Operation Wingnut? No problem. Here it is. We got it right here. Boom. Department of Defense, how much are you spending on this? I have no idea. No idea. So this is pretty basic cost accounting. Any functional government or society, you need this for auditability, transparency, and accountability. And this level of fascism is just unbelievable. I mean, we're actually going to code all the outgoing payments. Wow, boy, that's fascism.
Yeah. So, well, speaking, one quick note on the media is like, wasn't it great over the weekend when they're having to talk about big balls?
Yep.
CNN.
Again,
oh
they
my
have
God,
to find something
epic.
They have to find something. There are a couple of new narratives that I want to throw out there for you. There's the obvious the threat to democracy, constitutional infringement. Now there's a new one. Kathy Hochul comes out recently and says, well, if the Trump administration is going to go cut out the Department of Education, property taxes have to be raised. That's another one. It's all about scaring people. It's that's what it is.
So, well, let's get back to something that should scare people to John's point. John, did you hear that the Social Service Administration has been mailing out checks with no Social Security number on them? How is that possible? How do you have an administration that says they are Social Security, and yet they're mailing out billions of dollars to people who don't have Social Security numbers? How's that even possible? How does it go along how'd that happen for so long?
Well, all these inspector generals, which are an incredibly important function in the U.S. government. Well, what were they saying and doing all this time? They needed to be fired, zeroed out, and we need to put in new inspector generals. This is insanity. This has been a USAID ATM that has funded malfeasance inside the U.S. They helped topple Bolsonaro in Brazil. And hey,
throw him in
guess
jail.
what? They're all over AWEB, the
Yep.
election bureau in South Korea. So it looks like USAID has funded the toppling of two friendly governments.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be an accountability.
I want to throw this in there. Colonel Mills, I want to throw this in there. You're saying that USAID helped topple Bolsonaro. I also am going to submit to you that I believe they did what Biden could not do to Donald Trump. They actually found a way to throw the opposition in jail. They found a technicality to throw. They did everything they could lawfare wise, and they finally threw Bolsonaro in jail so he couldn't run again. That's another thing. So yeah, perhaps USAID's part of that as well.
Yeah, we will get Bolsonaro out of jail,
Tucker,
and we'll secure, make sure South Korea does not go down the pathway of Venezuela. This is insanity. This is an absolute deep state slush fund. That why even have inspector generals? Because they were just letting these checks go out the door. Who cares?
So let's be clear here and call a spade a spade. The IGs were the priests of the deep state. I swear to God. There's three things, John, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, but there's been three components that the deep state seized control of and maintained. First off is the IGs. They became essentially the arbiters of truth. And they had their own little secret priestdom that you couldn't look inside. It's like, oh, no, we're the IGs. We'll tell you what you need. And so they would be the ones who then, if corruption got out of hand, they'd have to be the ones who wrangle it back in. It's like, yeah, it's bad, but it's not as bad. That's why, all these IGs have always been milked in their findings, to include the FBI and others. So that's first. Secondly, to your point, they were able to essentially control the financial transactions of the entire federal government. I said this when Trump got kicked out last time, is that was one of the lessons that Trump had to learn, was that he had to take control of every expenditure of the government, which he learned his lesson. And third, and I think most importantly in many ways, has to do with the fact that when you have programs which have basically been able to go overseas and insinuate themselves like a tick, then that tick then can not only do bad things like you mentioned against Bolsonaro, they then can be the actual intermediary to wash funds. You have all these non-government organizations, think tanks. You send money over, like we're going to give you, I don't know, $150,000 to look at gay tree frogs in Brazil. Oh, that's a great topic. Anyway, out of that study, only 20,000 spent, and then that rest comes back to U.S. think tanks who hold events and have speaking fees. So then you enrich and continue the process of basically funding our own the left's political system here in the United States. To me, it's a Ponzi scheme that has damaged us greatly. So am I off base on saying this?
Yeah. We are now, we're undergoing essentially a non-violent, a bloodless, non-violent second American revolution, where we are revealing, now we have the receipts. Yes, we always knew and felt something was going on, but we never had the receipts. And now the Dodge boys are just running amok, exposing basic things. Payments are flying out the door without any of the two basic codes that have give an idea where they're coming from and what they're being used for and who they're going to. And wow, boy, that level of fascism from Elon. Wow. Guys, we could crush the federal deficit, because they always go, oh, well, it's only a small amount of money. And USAID was only a small amount of the money to political, and they were for subscriptions. It wasn't funding. They were subscriptions.
But you can throw $10,000.
Subscriptions are funding.
Yeah. Right. You can throw $10,000 worth of subscriptions from the government there. But Tony, to your point, the great Neil once said this.
You're a spade. I always call him that.
There we go.
That's right.
You're all calling it a
shovel. No, I used to always say it. But another thing I do want to say regarding spades and shovels is you probably have seen the video. It's making arounds. Elon tweeted it out the other day. Kathleen Hicks, former Undersecretary of Defense,
Oh, yeah.
was
I know
with
her.
John
Mm.
Stewart, and basically, yeah. So they did this very short. It's only 3 minutes, but worth watching, where she basically says, "Yeah, we don't care about where the money goes. It's like it's not really wasted. We used it. Yeah, but how'd you use it? Well, it's none of your business." So to me, and I said this in a tweet this morning, it's like this is what most of the Pentagon leadership's attitude is. By the way, for the record, she's an academic. She has not spent a single day doing any of the hard work that John or I did in the field. And I'm not saying that everybody has to go through and do the hard things that John and I did. I'm saying that she is completely detached from any care or any real care or desire to act constitutionally. I don't know what oath she took, but it wasn't to the Constitution of the American people. So, Chris, you want to play a little bit about this? Because this is pure gold, pure evil gold. So,
to be doing, like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and
that
waste,
is-
fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's
Then
decompose these
please
pieces.
educate
Yeah.
me on.
Those-
Sure. So an audit
Not
is
the same.
exactly what you just
No.
described.
Yes.
Which
No.
is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DoD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse.
no, no.
Boy, she's really
So-
defending
Nothing to
it.
see
Now,
here.
it's a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is
Sure.
not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
That's right.
So,
Lies.
In my world,
All lies.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
That's
is the first project I had when I came into the Office of the Secretary of Defense was responding to a GAO, Government Accountability Office audit, where literally the finding was at defense logistics agencies on one loading dock, brand new protective gear called mop suits was being shipped in that we bought, brand new. They were being brought in on one loading dock, literally several loading docks down, brand new mop suits were being declared excess and being shipped out for essentially,
Yeah.
go to your Army Navy surplus. So on one dock, brand new things were coming in. On the other dock, brand new things were being declared excess and being sent out for disposal. This is the insanity. That was over 20 years ago. That was my first project I had to deal with, respond to a GAO. Why is this? And then our findings, well, it was information management, inability.
Well, let me have another for you, John. I'm going to tell you a story that you probably didn't know. Yeah, so let me tell you a story that you probably didn't know. So, Walter Jones, Representative Walter Jones, and I worked a track 2 with Pakistan. Part of our effort was to do an assessment for Joe Dunford. Remember Joe, fighting Joe Dunford, to figure out what exactly would be required to adequately and quickly move. Say if we decided, this is back in 2011, 2012. Say we decided tomorrow we're leaving Afghanistan. We asked Tony Zinni to go in, and he did. General Zinni, former CENTCOM commander, good guy. He's kind of been he's been a Republican Democrat. He's now an independent. So I think he tries to be as political neutral as one can be. Anyway, Walter Jones and Jim McGovern, a Democrat, sent. We all worked together to send Zinni in to do an assessment in Afghanistan. He actually went into Afghanistan. So Zinni would go, wherever he wanted to go. They let him go. And so Zinni, now, John, Afghanistan is a mountainous country, as you know. So Zinni would go out to fire bases in the middle of nowhere to check things out. So Zinni is at this fire base that's at 10,000 feet in the middle of the mountains. You can't get there except by helicopter. So he gets up to this fire base and he helicopters in and he starts looking around and he sees this 53-foot Connex. 53 feet, one of the big ones, one of the really big ones, which it kind of sticks out of the. So, and by the way, did I say there's no roads? There's no roads. There's nothing up here except mountains. So on this remote fire base, there's this big 53-foot Connex. So Zinni goes to the captain in charge, says, "Hey, Captain, why is that here?" "We don't know." "You don't know? What's in it?" "We don't know. It was here when we got here." And it said, "Well, why don't you know what's in it?" "It's like, well, we're not authorized to open it." "Open it." So Zinni directs the captain to open the Connex. John, do you want to take a guess of what was in that Connex? Any
Those
guesses
mop
at all?
those mop suits that had been considered excess by DLA.
Good guess, but no. A 40-foot Bluebird school bus.
Hmm.
Really?
A school bus.
From USAID.
Yeah, really. I don't know who said it there. Nobody knew. But think about the logistics. We're at a 10,000 feet up is high. It's helicopters can barely get up that high. But someone had taken the time to sling load a 53-foot Connex with a school bus into the freaking mountains where there's no roads.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
somehow that's normal. That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's what happened. I'm just telling you, that's how crazy it's been.
Yeah, they needed to build the honeycomb hideout over there. I don't know, something like that. But it's amazing. They
got goats up there that want to run around in the school bus.
Right. And watching this woman here to defend all the deep state spending to Jon Stewart, all I could think of is looking back in 1981 when George Brent was yelling, "Hey, there ain't no pine tar on this bet. No, don't look at it. Don't look at it. I'm not giving it to you. There ain't no pine tar on this bet. Just take my word for it." Remember that incident? But that's the whole thing. These people know that we know, but they're trying to find an audience who they can tell it didn't happen to, and they'll believe it, and they'll shout it on social media and try to shout down all of us who tell you, "Hey, we know this, and we knew it all along.
Yeah.
Our pronouns now are you're welcome."
Well, Kathleen Hicks, who I actually know and work with, her message is, John and audience, you're just too stupid and unsophisticated to understand. This is just too deep a topic. Let me explain to you, Hicks and hayseeds, what's really going on since you're too stupid. No, we're not stupid. This is basics. This is basic bread and butter, and it's a lie. And we look at, we're finally exposing the outflow of funds that are clearly, this is money laundering, and the days of money laundering are over.
The days of wine and roses. Well, Pete Hicks said over the weekend that he's welcoming in Doge. So, man, oh man, I'd say there's probably at least 150 Kathleen Hicks are going to be like shown the door. I'm forecasting that because I know I would do that if I were Pete. And Pete, I've known Pete for a while. I just don't think Pete's going to suffer fools easily. I've known a few. By the way, he had a town hall on Friday. Pete Hicks did, and my friends who were there thought it was good, really good. So we'll see how it rolls. But the next thing I want to cover with you, John, real quick, is something we share is our concern for the fact that there are now efforts to create accountability within the government. What do you make of the judges now, the federal judges trying to say that political appointees and members of DOGE, which I made the point earlier, DOGE is actually a renaming of an actual bureaucracy was created by Joe Biden. Elon Musk is a special employee with appropriate clearances. What do you make of the federal judges, at least one now, trying to say, hey, you can't look at your own data? What do you make of that? Do you think that's something we have to look at?
Yeah, well, I think he actually was saying to the Treasury Secretary, who is confirmed in place, that he couldn't look at the data. This is absolute insane lawfare. But I think the marauding bands of Doge boys have put them so back on their heels. They've never seen anything like this, and we've been zeroing in on the payment systems and structures, which is the root. That is the seminal foundation of how they've been looting the Treasury and money laundering. So the judge doing this is sheer unadulterated lawfare. It will not stand. It doesn't even make any sense. So the actual confirmed Secretary of Treasury can't even look at this data. Okay, this person is insane. So.
Well, so the question then becomes: does Trump do the Andrew Jackson thing? It's like F y'all. I'm just going to do it anyway because obviously Biden did it with the student loans. He actually bragged about just blowing off the Supreme Court. It's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. So, what do you think the best course of action is here?
Yeah, I would move that direction. I mean, this is so patently absurd where you can't even have the Treasury Secretary look at his own data. Okay, yeah, that makes no sense at all, has no precedence, is illogical, and is so patently. This is Letitia James, the Letitia James mentality and culture.
So I got a serious question here. I don't want to get you in trouble. I got to ask it, John. If you took Letitia James and Fonnie Willis, and you put them on a beach, say, I don't know, in Long Island, who could swim out further to sea without drowning? A, Letitia James. B, Fonnie Willis. Or C, I don't know, but it's worth trying.
I don't know. How about we let's make it a non-U.S. Territory, or as of now, non-U.S. It might become not. You would put them in Bimini, which is the closest.
Well, it'd be fun to watch them swim, though. You have to say, you have to admit that'd be fun to watch them swim. Just saying. So
yeah. Just start them in non-U.S.
Anyway.
Yeah, they can swim to Cuba and stay there. How about that? Where they're more at home.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, they love it. They love it in Cuba. They're all comrades there.
Look, we need to get rid of Creepella here in New York anyway.
Chevy. Yeah.
I just
let's move on.
Yeah, they've never had to deal with anything like this before, so I think they're in a state of shock, and most of them are just kind of jabbering and not knowing what to do, and they're like, oh, he's firing inspector generals. Well, if the inspector generals have been missing the lack of coding on outgoing funds, I'd fire everyone anyway. Anyway, the president has an authority to fire the inspector generals. These are not anointed long-term employees. No, the president can absolutely fire them. So get rid of them. I think they're in a state of shock every day. I mean, borrowing from Steve Bannon's line,
I know.
Every day is a day of thunder, and let's keep it going.
Oh, here's another one.
So just for the record, a couple things. So first off, should I be asked to do something? Yeah. Oh yeah, another.
This one is.
So let me just say for the record. Yeah. We're having glitches in the interwebs again. Anyway, so let me say for the record, if I'm asked to do anything within the administration, let me just say this, that any organization that I'm asked to look at or examine, 25% cuts automatically across the board. Just saying.
It would make sense.
That's going to be just, any organization within the government can take a 25% cut and increase their efficiency by double. It would double the efficiency by cutting these people back. Just saying. So
here's something I should submit to both of you here. Here's something. These Democrats always brag about how they up the employment numbers. A lot of these, and this includes the Inflation Enhancement Act that was that was put forth during the Biden administration. These jobs that are brought out there are either temporary jobs or government jobs. And if you see Democrats upping the employment numbers, excuse me, I'm having a little Kamala Harris moment doing the word salad thing. But the fact is, you see these numbers go up. You got to think that they're expanding the government a lot more, and they're bringing in people to work for the government. Whereas that's why everything expands. But these people look good coming out saying, well, look, the employment numbers were up. And then you have the Inflation Enhancement Act, where you have the government supplying jobs for all these places. Now, yes, I get that. We need the infrastructure, but we don't need 80,000 IRS agents added on to what we have right now. We don't need to bloat the government further, but they can brag about the jobs they created through the private sector. And this is what happens here. Then, of course, the numbers go down when we trim it. Well, look what happened. All this unemployment. Again, all about optics, but that they're going to be using that in 2026 and 2028.
Well, this is the deep state collusion of both the Department of Labor and the Census Bureau. They play these games with employment. Employment numbers have almost been, all job growth has been almost 100% illegal aliens. Now that you're allowed to say that again. It's been a total lie, and also government spending. This is where all these Belfer Center brainiacs, Belfer Center's at Harvard for all the Hicks and Hayseeds out there. So this is where and I've had to deal with so many of these people in government, and I was just examining the Belfer Center last night for a project. They'll always say, well, according to the Keynes theory of economics, government spending, helps stimulate growth. No. It's been shown, any economist has shown that you have a negative return on a dollar of government spending. When you spend a dollar by the government, you get back 0.7 to 0.8. That's called going out of business. So these brainiacs are idiots. And so this is the return on investment for a dollar of government spend is 1.5. Wow. 50% growth for every dollar of government spending. Well, why don't we just wipe out the entire price for 50% growth? That's incredible. Why don't we just not have a private sector? It is a total lie, and they're financially and economically illiterate, and they just spew this drivel. It's a combination of lies, delusion, and willful malfeasance.
This message brought to you by the Paul Krugman School of Economics.
Well, according to the Keynes
right.
theory of economics.
Yeah, you can't tax
what a
yourself
lie.
into success. I'm sorry, you can't
Didn't
tax a
Krugman-
nation into prosperity.
He finally got fired. No, they finally fired him, I think, right? I mean, he's fired.
But he's one of the
That
16
guy was
Nobel
a nut.
laureates. But he's one of the 16 Nobel laureates that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden referred to as, well, our plan. These 16 Nobel laureates. Our plan's much better. He's one of them.
Yeah, 1.5 return on every dollar government spending. Wow, why even have a private sector? It's incredible. 50% return. Let's do it.
Hey, that deserves
So
a
why?
hey-o, I
Let me
think.
ask you
Hey-o.
a question. John. Why does Paul Krugman always look like he just left a sex shop on Fifth Avenue in New York? I don't understand.
These people really have some mental health issues, and they've lost the narrative. That's self-declared. They lost the narrative, and they just can't believe that they're not running the money laundering operation that really began in the 90s with the Clintons and Haiti. It all started with the Clintons in the 90s. Haiti money laundering. Wow, we can get away with, and concurrently, I went through my first sensitivity training in the 90s. It all started with sensitivity training and safe spaces. This was the two-pronged strategy: money laundering, sensitivity training. Money laundering, sensitivity training, and look what it's gotten us.
Oh yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Fifth Avenue, Tony? I was thinking more Christopher Street. But again, different story, different day.
Well, Well, I don't know. He gets around. I think he's the first. He was the first guy to buy. He was the first guy to buy one of the Tony Fauci's in the pocket doll. Just saying. So I don't know about that.
with the robe.
Yeah. He got the special. He got the special attachment features for the Tony Fauci pocket doll. Just saying. So, not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, who doesn't need a doctor in their pocket, right? I mean,
well, the government had quite a few.
If anybody needed a doctor in a pocket, it's Paul Krugman.
Well, the U.S. government has about what, 98%? I don't know, maybe. Lots of doctors in their pocket.
We all know.
Must be too much lead in their silverware, just like Rome. I mean, it just went to their brains. I mean, they think they're the smartest things in the room. I mean, they make no sense. The Belfer Center.
No. So I got to show you something real quick. Did you? So I got no. So I have. By the way, I spoke about this on the show the other day. I now have a physical representation of Chuck Schumer's brain. Hold on one second. So I promised people last week. So here is the 3D representation of Chuck Schumer's brain. This is 30 pounds. This is what Chuck Schumer's brain actually looks like if you take it and get it out of his head. Just saying. So there it is. For those who don't know. So the more you know, right, Chris?
Yes, the more you know. Although when it comes to the left, it's the less you know. That's another story, again, for another day.
I like the convenient handle.
So we got to go. But I know. Well, he's handled a lot of things. Just saying. Seems we're putting cheese on uncooked hamburger, but that's a story for another day. But we got to go. It's been another hour. And by the way, John, everybody's clamoring for your return, so we'll be sure and book you back again because people love you. So it's good.
I'll have to have that arranged
They
because
they don't love you, and they don't love you in the Nathan Hale way or whatever that guy was that was Fawny. Not that kind of way.
Not Nathan Hale.
Not the corrupt. Not ever. Who was that guy? Nathan something.
Yes. Well, I think it was Nate.
Anyway.
Again, he's forgettable. Either way, we were hoping to talk about this Van Halen song, but we'll do that next time you come back.
We will do that. Yeah. No, we got so many defense things, and we'll continue to talk about Elon Musk's march to the sea. Just like Sherman, he's marching to the sea. It's like, man, oh man. It's like they're just moving too fast for them to keep up, which is great. By the way, quick program note. Tomorrow I'll be in and out because I've got to, I'm a county commissioner, so I got to go do county commissioner things, and all that. So I'll be doing some of that. And then on Wednesday, I'll be on the road. But you guys, I'll check out the show. And by the way, for those who don't know, our gala, the National Veterans Parade, which I was the first Grand Marshal of, we have the gala this Thursday at Mar-a-Lago, and there's still tickets. I'm putting the link in the chat for anybody who wants to go. We're not going to pull this, all the tickets are gone. Well, they're almost gone, but there's a few left. And so if anybody wants to go, there you go. I just put the chat in there. So if y'all want to hang out with Mike Flynn, Mike's coming to be the keynote. And then my friend and your friend, Blaine Holt, General Holt from Newsmax is going to be there with me. And we're going to be hanging out and, doing interesting things. I don't think we have a juggling act yet, but we'll see. Anyway, but we will be there. So anyway, I'll be off on the road doing that because we gotta drive down to Florida from here. So anyway, John, God bless you. Tell us about your book again. Tell us about the book you have there, Chris. Do you have that available real quick for John?
Yeah, we're living at real time. My most recent book was War Against the Deep State, that showed the unlawful fourth, fifth, and sixth branches of the government that have developed: the administrative state, the marriage of law enforcement, intelligence, and big tech, and then the rise of the nonprofits. And then my first book, The Nation Will Follow, me being ground zero, realizing I had colleagues in government conducting the coup against candidate and then President Trump. And both are available on Amazon. I know. And
weird.
And signed copies go to Lindell, my store. But I gave a lot of evidence to the Durham investigation, and it did help bring down Charles McGonigal, the FBI director of counterintelligence, who was getting paid by the Russians to say it was the Russians. Doesn't make any sense. Well, it makes sense.
Isn't that something? That guy needs to serve. To me, it was treason, pure treason. I think that guy to be in jail the rest of his life. But speaking of that, so one of the things I was going to touch on as we go out the door was Don Rumsfeld. I don't know if you know Don. I've been seeing a lot of stuff out there about, right before the day before 9/11, Don Rumsfeld announced essentially he was going to do an audit of the Pentagon. And a lot of folks think that, that was related to what happened the next day. I don't think you can draw that conclusion. But I do know from talking to Don after the fact that I think he got a raw deal. And I think, John, you were probably there when he was doing his snowflakes.
I actually have a signed, I got an autographed copy of his last snowflake. I actually liked Don Rumsfeld a lot. There's, a lot. Me too. He was imperfect, just like all of us, but he was, people forget, before 9/11, he was on a tear to really address the financial malfeasance of the Pentagon. Now, I don't think there was a direct connection, but I think he was absolutely brilliant, and I loved working his snowflakes. I worked a number of his snowflakes, and they were very reasonable questions that the largest bureaucracy in the world just could never explain. It was like, and he would just send out, these missives. And so when Pete Hegseth put out his first one, I said, I posted on X, I said, look, I said, this is beautiful. I didn't want to call it a snowflake, Pete Hegseth's first note, But that was, look, I loved it. That was in the spirit and legend of Don Rumsfeld, Pete Hegseth's first note. No DEI, period.
Well, one of the reasons I want to bring it up is because, I was a whistleblower against Don, and Don, Abel Danger. So we were in the green room. I think it was in 2012 together at Fox, and I was sitting across from him, and Don was a very gracious guy, no matter what. He was always cool. So we were sitting there, literally across from each other, and we're talking, doing small talk. And I said, Mr. Secretary, there's still something between us. And he looks up at me and says, yeah, Tony, Abel Danger. He knew, John, he knew. It's like he remembered.
Good.
And
Yeah,
so
he was brilliant. I led the team. I mean, I was the small group to plan the regime change in Iraq. I sure would have done it a bit differently, but so I had a chance to brief Ryan Henry, Doug Feith, and Donna.
Well, Doug Feith is evil. Don't get me into Doug. Doug and I don't get along, but I don't want to get.
No relation to Barney, though.
Let's stay with people we like, which is so. Rummy sits there and he says, "Abel Danger," and he looks at me and says, "Tony, why is that? Why is that between us?" I said, "Because they lied to you," and I explained what had happened and how we were trying to get to him to explain what was going on, which was, to me, we, Abel Danger, weren't supposed. Nobody knew about us, John. We were way off the reservation. Hugh Shelton and General Chairman of the Joint Chiefs and Pete Schoonmaker had us just go off on our own. It's like, you guys go figure it out. And so nobody knew about us. So I don't think we were supposed to find what we did regarding 9/11, because I think USAID was supporting what was going on. I think they were funding the stuff. Just saying. Anyway, so Don, I explained to him what we tried to tell him. He says, I said, "You were lied to." And he said, "Tony, that wasn't the only thing I was lied to about," unquote. So we became friends from that point on. And I think Don figured out that he was not being told the truth about a number of things, even though it was SecDef. So I just want people to rethink. I get criticized all the time for defending Don. I'm defending Don. I think his heart was in the right place. So just saying. So
yeah, he was.
Anyway,
his autograph is right up there in my his book. Yeah, he was lied to a lot. When I got back from Iraq, I wrote a note that went straight to him, and it was like, basically, it was a whole bunch of things. But boy, he took action on a number of things, and there was too many filterers from that E4 all the way up to the SecDef. You had the major, the lieutenant colonel, the generals, the admirals. Everybody had to filter. And so by the time it got to Rumsfeld, it made no sense.
Yeah. No, that's why we were doing the Team B for Joe Dunford when he was chairman. It's like we had Bud McFarland, Jim Woolsey, Dick Newton, Ambassador Hank Cooper, Dr. London, and we were his like informal kitchen cabinet. But John, the staff was constantly trying to get me to tell them what we were doing. It's like, it's none of your business. It's not my job to tell you what we're going to tell the chairman. The chairman wants us to tell him certain things. I don't want to get into it. It's another story for another day, but I'm just saying, man, oh man, what, these guys, and I've already warned certain people, don't want to say their names, don't let your staff own you. Don't become a prisoner to your own staff. Just saying. So anyway, on that note, we got to go. We are overtime, but thanks for being here, folks. We always have a lively conversation with people who know what the hell's going on. John, you're one of those people. So we want to have you back so you can tell us more about what the hell is going on.
Yes, we do.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Take care. Have a good day. And Patriots, we got to go. We got to go because the evil overlord limits us to a certain amount of time. As a matter of fact, he's going to start docking our pay. We're talking too much, right?
Or we could just go rogue.
A per word penalty, right?
Well, we would, if we went rogue like that, we'd be running around with the American flag, not that Palestinian flag like the guy in the halftime show.
That's right.
There we go.
Right.
That's us going rogue.
All right, folks. Well, anyway, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Well, Chris will see you tomorrow. I'll be popping in and out, but until then, we'll see you tomorrow.
Got it. Karen's with us too.
Karen's too.